Transformation begins with one essential question: why? We often talk about change as if it's something we can simply decide on, take action, and see immediate results. But the truth is, transformation is rarely that simple. Most people set out on a journey of self-improvement with a vague idea of what they want: more money, better health, stronger relationships, but they fail to anchor these desires to something deeper. The next hour and connected our actions to something bigger than ourselves. They don't ask the one question that makes all the difference, but either we connected our actions to something bigger than ourselves or had no motivation at all, ever to inspire me with glory. Most of the time, they just fail to inspire gyms. Members go unused. New habits fade as quickly as they started, not because we never connected our actions to something bigger than ourselves. When you start with why, you give your actions meaning. You create a foundation that keeps you going when the initial excitement wears off. A goal without a strong purpose is like a car without fuel. It might look good on the outside, but it's not going anywhere. Now let's get real. Most of us think we already know our why. We say things like, I want to get fit because I want to be healthier, or I want to start a business because I want financial freedom. But these are surface level answers. They aren't the real why. The real why is something deeper, something emotional. It's not about what you want, it's about what you feel. Let's take the example of fitness. Saying you want to be healthy is great, but it's not enough to drive long-term commitment. Why do you want to be healthy? Is it because you lost a loved one to health issues and don't want to go down the same path? Is it because you want to have the energy to play with your kids? Is it because you want to prove to yourself that you are capable of discipline and self-respect? That's where the real motivation comes from. When people set goals without connecting to their true why, they rely on willpower alone. And willpower is unreliable. It fluctuates, it drains, it fails when life gets tough. But a strong why, that's different. That's what keeps you going when you don't feel like it. That's what makes waking up early for that workout non-negotiable. That's what pushes you through the discomfort of starting a new career or building a business or breaking free from old patterns. Think about some of the most successful people in the world. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists. They don't just wake up every morning and force themselves to work hard. They have a deep, undeniable purpose that pulls them forward. They are fueled by something greater than just personal ambition. And here's something most people don't realize. Your why isn't just about you. True transformation happens when your purpose extends beyond yourself. If your goals are only about personal gain, making more money, getting a better body, achieving status, you will eventually hit a wall. But if your purpose is tied to something bigger, something that serves others, you unlock a different kind of energy, a kind of energy that doesn't fade when obstacles arise. Look at the greatest leaders, the ones who have changed the world. They didn't just want success for themselves. They had a vision that went beyond them. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't fight for civil rights because he wanted recognition. He did it because he had a purpose greater than himself. Elon Musk doesn't work 100-hour weeks just to get richer. He's driven by the belief that humanity should become a multi-planetary species. Mother Teresa didn't dedicate her life to helping the poor for personal gain. She did it because she was deeply connected to her purpose. So let's bring this back to you. What is your why? Why do you want to change? What's really driving you? And more importantly, who else benefits when you step into your fullest potential? It's easy to think that our personal growth is just about us. But transformation has a ripple effect. When you become better, you inspire those around you. When you take control of your health, your family benefits. When you build a business based on purpose, you create jobs and opportunities for others. When you develop discipline and resilience, you become a role model for those struggling to find their own way. This is why starting with why is non-negotiable, because without it, transformation is temporary. It's a fleeting burst of motivation that dies when things get hard. But when your purpose is strong enough, nothing can shake you. If you want to transform your life in 2025, don't start by setting random goals. Don't start by forcing yourself into action without understanding the deeper reason behind it. Start by asking yourself the hard questions. Why do I really want this? What is at stake if I don't change? Who else benefits from my transformation? What legacy do I want to leave behind? If you can answer these questions with clarity and conviction, you won't need motivation. You won't need to rely on willpower. Your purpose will fuel you every step of the way. So before you write your goals for this year, before you plan your next move, take a moment, go deeper, find your why. Because when you do, transformation isn't just possible, it's inevitable. Growth is uncomfortable. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. We love the idea of transformation, of becoming stronger, wiser, more successful, but we don't always love what it takes to get there. Because what it takes is discomfort. Think about the last time you grew as a person. It probably wasn't during a time when everything was easy, when life was smooth, when you felt completely comfortable. No, real growth happens in the moments when you're stretched beyond what feels safe. It happens when you're challenged, when you're pushed, when you're forced to face the parts of yourself that you'd rather avoid. And yet, most of us spend our lives avoiding discomfort. We choose the easier path. We stick to routines that feel familiar, even if they don't serve us. We stay in jobs we don't love, relationships that don't fulfill us, habits that keep us stuck, not because they are good for us, but because they are comfortable. But here's what we fail to realize. Comfort is the enemy of progress. The more comfortable you are, the less likely you are to change. Because why would you? If nothing is pushing you to grow, if nothing is challenging you to be better, you'll stay exactly where you are. And where you are might be fine, but fine isn't transformation. Fine isn't extraordinary. Fine isn't the life you truly want. Look at anyone who has ever achieved anything remarkable, and you'll see a pattern. They didn't get there by staying comfortable. They got there by doing the things that most people are unwilling to do. They got there by stepping into the unknown, by taking risks, by embracing the fear that comes with doing something new. Athletes push their bodies beyond what feels possible. Entrepreneurs take risks that most people wouldn't dare to take. Artists put their work out into the world knowing they will face criticism and rejection. Leaders make decisions that come with enormous pressure and responsibility. None of these things are comfortable, but they are necessary. Discomfort is a sign that you are growing. It's a signal that you are moving beyond your old limits. When you feel resistance, when you feel fear, when you feel that tension that makes you want to turn back, that's exactly when you need to keep going, because that's the moment when transformation is happening. Think about lifting weights. If you only ever lift what's easy, your muscles will never grow. But when you push yourself, when you reach the point where your muscles start to burn and shake, that's when real strength is built. The same is true in life. Growth happens in the moments when you feel like you can't do it, when you feel like it's too hard, when you want to quit. But instead of quitting, what if you leaned into it? What if, instead of avoiding discomfort, you started to seek it out? Not in a reckless way, not in a way that makes you miserable, but in a way that challenges you to become better. What if you had the difficult conversation you've been avoiding? What if you took the risk that scares you? What if you pushed yourself just a little harder instead of stopping when it gets tough? Most people run from discomfort. They numb it with distractions, scrolling through social media, binge watching TV, staying busy with things that don't really matter. But the ones who grow, the ones who truly transform, are the ones who face it head on. And here's the secret. The more you embrace discomfort, the easier it gets. What once felt impossible starts to feel normal. What once scared you starts to excite you. You begin to crave the challenge because you know that on the other side of it is something greater. Think about the first time you tried something new. Maybe it was speaking in front of a crowd, starting a new job, moving to a new place. It probably felt terrifying at first, but over time it became easier. The discomfort didn't last forever. You adapted, you grew, and what once felt impossible became just another part of who you are. That's how transformation works. It's not about making one big leap. It's about stepping into discomfort again and again until what once felt hard becomes your new normal. And then you do it again and again until one day you look back and realize you are a completely different person than you were before. Stronger, wiser, more capable. So if you want to transform your life in 2025, don't chase comfort. Chase growth. Chase the things that scare you. Chase the challenges that force you to level up. Because every time you do, you are becoming the person you were meant to be. Transformation isn't about massive, dramatic changes overnight. It's not about waking up one day and suddenly being a completely different person. That's the fantasy we're often sold, the idea that success, growth, and personal change happen in one big, defining moment. But in reality, transformation is built on something much simpler: small, consistent actions. The reason most people fail to change isn't that they're incapable. It's because they set goals that are too big, too vague, or too overwhelming. They start with excitement, with a burst of motivation, convinced that this time will be different. They commit to extreme diets, intense workout plans, ambitious business ideas. But when the results don't come quickly enough, when progress feels slow, they lose interest. They quit. Not because they don't want it, but because they've misunderstood how real change works. Big changes don't happen all at once. They happen in the small, seemingly insignificant choices you make every single day. The workout you do even when you don't feel like it. The book you read instead of scrolling on your phone. The difficult conversation you finally have instead of avoiding it. The extra 10 minutes you spend working on your craft. These small actions, repeated over time, create momentum, and momentum creates transformation. It's easy to underestimate the power of small wins. We think if something isn't dramatic, it doesn't matter. If we don't see immediate results, we assume it's not working. But that's not how progress works. Imagine a plane taking off from Los Angeles, heading to New York. If the pilot adjusts the flight path by just a few degrees, barely noticeable from inside the plane, the aircraft will end up in Washington, D.C., instead of New York. A small shift at the start makes a massive difference over time. The same is true for your life. The choices you make today, no matter how small, are setting the trajectory for where you'll be in a year, in 5 years, in a decade. Every action is either moving you closer to the life you want or further away from it, and the best part, you are in control. But here's where most people struggle. They don't see the results fast enough, so they give up. They said they don't realize that progress is often invisible at first. It's happening beneath the surface, like a seed growing underground before it breaks through the soil. Just because you don't see immediate changes doesn't mean nothing is happening. Think about someone training for a marathon. They don't start by running 26 miles on day one. They start with 1 mile. Maybe they walk half of it, and then the next day they do a little more. Over weeks and months, those small efforts compound. The person who could barely run a mile is now running 10, then 15, then 20. The transformation was never about one big effort. It was about the daily commitment to getting just a little better. This applies to every area of life. If you want to get in shape, start by walking 10 minutes a day, then increase it. If you want to write a book, start by writing 200 words a day, then build on that. If you want to grow your business, start by reaching out to 1 new client a day, then expand. The key is consistency. Anyone can be motivated for a day or a week, but real transformation comes from the person who shows up every single day, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one is watching. And here's the thing, small wins don't just create progress, they create confidence. Every time you follow through on a small action, you reinforce the belief that you are the kind of person who keeps promises to themselves. You start to trust yourself. And that trust is everything, because once you believe in your ability to change, nothing can stop you. Most people don't lack ability, they lack belief. They don't think they're capable because they've spent years breaking promises to themselves. They say they'll start Monday, but they don't. They set goals in January, but they quit by February. And with each broken commitment, they chip away at their confidence. But the good news? That belief can be rebuilt. And it starts with small wins. Show yourself that you can be consistent. Show yourself that you can follow through. Show yourself that you can take small actions that over time create massive change. If you want to transform your life in 2025, stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop looking for the big breakthrough. Focus on today. Focus on the next small step. Because when you stack enough small wins, you don't just change what you do, you change who you are. Who you surround yourself with determines who you become. Whether we like to admit it or not, we are deeply influenced by the people in our lives. Their habits, their mindset, their energy, it all seeps into us, shaping the way we think, act, and see the world. If you want to transform your life in 2025, one of the most important things you can do is be intentional about the people you allow into your space. Most people don't think about this. They assume that their mindset, motivation, and success are purely personal matters, that their drive, ambition, and discipline are entirely up to them. But the truth is, your environment plays a bigger role than you realize. You can have all the motivation in the world, but if you're constantly surrounded by people who doubt you, discourage you, or pull you into negative habits, it's only a matter of time before that environment shapes you. Look at the most successful people in any field: business, sports, personal growth. They didn't get there alone. They had mentors, coaches, peers who challenged them, supported them, and pushed them to be better. They surrounded themselves with people who had the mindset they wanted to develop. They didn't waste time in spaces that drained their energy or kept them small. Now, take a look at your own circle. Who are the people you spend the most time with? Are they pushing you to grow? Are they encouraging your ambitions? Or are they holding you back, intentionally or unintentionally? There's a saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's not just a motivational quote, it's a reality. If you surround yourself with people who are ambitious, disciplined, and growth-oriented, their mindset will rub off on you. If you spend time with people who make excuses, complain, and resist change, that will influence you too. The hard part is that sometimes the people who hold us back aren't bad people. They're friends, family members, co-workers, people we care about. They don't necessarily mean to keep us stuck, but their fears, doubts, and limited thinking can unintentionally pull us down. Maybe you've experienced this before. You share a big goal, and instead of encouragement, you get skepticism. You talk about making a change, and instead of support, you hear all the reasons why it's risky or unrealistic. Over time, this negativity plants seeds of doubt. You start questioning yourself. You start hesitating. And before you know it, your vision starts shrinking. That's why it's so important to protect your energy. This doesn't mean you have to cut people out of your life completely, but it does mean being intentional about where you invest your time and attention. Spend more time with the people who inspire you, who challenge you, who believe in your potential even when you doubt yourself. If you don't have those people in your current circle, find them. In today's world, you have access to mentors, role models, and communities beyond your immediate surroundings. Listen to podcasts, read books, join groups where people are focused on growth, go to events where people are striving for more. The right environment will change everything. There's something powerful about being around people who think bigger than you. It forces you to elevate your own mindset. It challenges you to expand your beliefs about what's possible. When you're surrounded by people who are constantly improving themselves, you feel a pull to do the same. It becomes the new normal. Imagine 2 people. One spends their time in an environment where everyone around them is ambitious, disciplined, and constantly working on their goals. The other spends time with people who are content with mediocrity, who complain about life but never do anything to change it. Which one do you think is more likely to grow? It's not about intelligence, it's not about talent, it's about proximity. There's a reason why top athletes train with other elite athletes. There's a reason why successful entrepreneurs seek out mastermind groups. There's a reason why people who achieve great things often come from environments that push them beyond their comfort zone. They understand that their surroundings shape them. This applies to every area of your life. If you want to be healthier, spend time with people who prioritize fitness and well-being. If you want to be more disciplined, surround yourself with people who hold themselves to high standards. If you want to build a successful business, learn from those who have already done it. The more you align yourself with people who embody the traits you want to develop, the faster your own transformation will be. And here's something most people overlook. You're not just influenced by your environment, you're also influencing it, which means the way you show up matters. If you want to attract growth-minded people into your life, be someone who is committed to growth. If you want to be around people who inspire you, be someone who inspires others. When you raise your own standards, you naturally start attracting people who operate at that level. So as you step into 2025, take a serious look at your environment. Be honest about who is helping you grow and who is keeping you stagnant. Seek out the people and spaces that challenge you to be better, because the truth is no one transforms alone. The right people will push you further than you ever thought possible. Success is often seen as a solo journey, a relentless pursuit of personal goals, achievements, and milestones. But real success, the kind that leads to lasting fulfillment, isn't just about what you gain, it's about what you give. The most transformative shifts in life don't come from chasing personal wins. They come from contributing to something greater than yourself. We live in a world that constantly tells us to focus on ourselves. Get ahead, earn more, be better than the next person. And while personal ambition is important, it's also incomplete. Because no matter how much you achieve, if you're only doing it for yourself, you will eventually hit a point where it feels empty. The real transformation happens when you shift your focus from how can I succeed to how can I help others succeed. Think about the people who have truly made an impact in the world, the leaders, the innovators, the ones we admire most. They didn't just focus on themselves. They lifted others along the way. They used their skills, knowledge, and resources to create opportunities for others. And in doing so, they built something bigger than themselves. When you give more than you take, you create value that extends far beyond your own life. You become the kind of person that others trust, respect, and want to be around. You open doors that you never even knew existed, because when you help others grow, you grow too. The mistake most people make is thinking they need to wait until they are successful before they start giving back. They believe that generosity is something you do once you've reached a certain level, once you have enough money, enough influence, enough time. But that's backwards. Contribution isn't the result of success, it's the foundation of it. The most successful people understand this. They don't wait until they have everything figured out before they start giving. They start now. They mentor others even while they're still learning. They share their knowledge, their resources, their encouragement. Not because they have to, but because they know that true success is built on impact. And impact doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It doesn't have to be starting a foundation or donating millions of dollars. Sometimes it's as simple as offering guidance to someone who's struggling. Encouraging a friend who's lost confidence, sharing a lesson you've learned so that someone else doesn't have to make the same mistake. These small acts of generosity ripple out in ways you can't predict. When you adopt a mindset of giving, everything changes. Relationships deepen, opportunities appear, people are drawn to you, not because of what they can get, but because of who you are. And in a world where so many people are only looking out for themselves, those who genuinely care about others stand out. But giving isn't just about other people, it transforms you as well. It shifts your perspective. It makes you more grateful, more aware, more connected to something bigger than yourself. And the more you focus on contribution, the more purpose you feel. Many people struggle with motivation because they're only thinking about their own success. They get stuck in the cycle of chasing external rewards, more money, more recognition, more achievements, without ever feeling truly fulfilled. But when your work, your efforts, your goals are connected to helping others, motivation becomes effortless. Because it's no longer just about you, it's about something greater. And here's something most people don't realize. The more you give, the more you grow. When you teach, you learn. When you help others succeed, you create an environment where success is shared. When you invest in others, you build a network of people who will support and uplift you in return. This isn't about self-sacrifice or giving so that you can get something back. It's about recognizing that the greatest fulfillment in life comes from impact. It's about understanding that transformation isn't just about personal success. It's about making the world around you better in some way. If you want to transform your life in 2025, start by shifting your mindset from what can I get to what can I give. Instead of just focusing on climbing higher, think about who you can bring with you. Instead of just asking for help, think about how you can offer help. Instead of only pursuing success, think about how you can create value for others. Because when you give more than you take, you don't just change the lives of others, you change your own. You build a life that's not just successful, but significant. And in the end, that's what truly matters.